Here's what happened when 2,000 Millwall fans returned to their stadium, the Den, for the first time on Saturday and saw their own players take the knee in support of the Black Lives Matter organisation.
Go through those subs again, and they've got Frank Fielding, Sean Williams, Alex Pearce, John Daddy Bavardson, Troy Parrott, Scalak, Alexander, Burey and Muller. For Derby County, Marshall in goal, then Byrne, Davis, Clark and Forsyth, holding to Shinnie and...
No reference of it by the commentators, but it was obvious what was going on. Dominique Samuels, were these fans racist for booing the players who took the knee?
No, I don't think so. I think, you could perhaps make loose claims of there being individual people that are racist in the crowds, but I think we have to have common sense in terms of what we're actually talking about here, because Black Lives Matter is a political organisation. It's a political movement. I've been saying this for a while now. People are saying to me, no, this is not true. It's not political. And then we see that Black Lives Matter has registered as a political party. So this is inherently political. And if that was me, at that stadium, I would have probably booed as well, because I believe that Black Lives Matter is antithetical to the needs of Black people. And as a poll showing that 55% of people believe that Black Lives Matter has caused more division, I don't think this is necessarily an unpopular opinion to have. So no, I don't think they were racist.
So Dominic, just to make clear, as a young black woman, if you were at the stadium, you would also have booed the Millwall players who took the knee?
Yes, I would have, because, I'm speaking for myself here, but I don't need a famous rich footballer to get down on one knee for me to know that my life matters. All this is doing is really sending a virtue signal that makes individual players feel better about themselves. And if that's how they feel, fair enough. If they want to show that they're against racism and for equality, fair enough. But using that under the banner of Black Lives Matter certainly isn't the way to do it. If it was a stand up to racism, kind of gesture, as there have been previously, and nobody had an issue with it, then fair enough. But Black Lives Matter is political, and I think for that reason, people have a right to disagree with it.
Femi Olawale, same question to you. Were the Millwall fans that booed their own players for taking the knee on Saturday racist?
So here's the thing. I would probably started this conversation by answering that question yes, because yes, but I think the fact that listening to the narrative that you both seem to be pushing there, I kind of almost gain a little bit of sympathy for those Millwall fans on the basis that you started by saying that the people who took the knee were taking the knee towards the organization in solidarity with the organization.
Yes.
Black Lives Matter, as if that's what it's about. As if it's all about Marxism or whatever that organization
defunding the police. Yeah. Anti-capitalism.
I recently wrote an article, and the first line of that article was, I can imagine that when George Floyd was gasping for air, taking his final breath, the one thought running through his mind was nationalize the railways. It wasn't. It was basic human equality, racial equality. It's not about politics. It's about the simple fact that Black lives matter.
Of course they do. But why do you need to take the knee to show that, Femi?
If you were to ask any person who campaigns for Black Lives Matter, do they care more about actually achieving racial equality or some group that happened to get the username Black Lives Matter on Twitter? I'm pretty sure you know which one they choose. People who oppose this movement are simply just trying to undermine that push for racial equality.
Okay, well, Dominique Samuels is a young black woman. She said she would boo those fans as well, Femi. She's not trying to undermine racial equality. How offensive to Dominique.
But she's pushing the narrative that you are, which is in itself undermining the push for racial equality. Whatever her skin, whatever your skin color, you are undermining the push for racial equality by constantly saying that this is about some organization who I personally have condemned.
So Dominique, how do you respond to that? Femi says you're trying to undermine racial equality by not supporting these players taking the knee.
No, I'm not trying to undermine racial equality. What I'm trying to undermine is a lack of knowledge that a lot of people have when they associate themselves with these kinds of extremist movements. And taking the knee has been, for a while now, associated with Black Lives Matter, the organization. Even Barack Obama had to say and was actually faced with a lot of criticism from people on his own side that are saying things like defund the police, get rid of capitalism, etc., etc., do nothing to bring people towards your point of view from the other side. These are really divisive gestures and things that have come out of the Black Lives Matter movement. You can make every attempt to disassociate the two, but in people's minds now, that's all that's there. And that's why gestures such as those invite such negative attention. It's not that people are against racial equality and fairness, it's the way in which you go about it. And that's the problem with BLM. Just saying that it has nothing to do with the organisation, it's not about Marxism, is not enough, because what the evidence represents is that the two are actually linked. And that's why people are so suspicious and are so skeptical of it. And that's why a lot of people feel as though Black Lives Matter has caused more division, regardless of whether or not individuals themselves subscribe to
Femi, the polls show that, Femi, let me get you to respond to this poll published by The Guardian, believe it or not. 55% of UK adults believe that the Black Lives Matter protests have actually increased racial tensions.
What percentage of them are black?
Well, I don't know the percentage that are black, but 44% of ethnic minorities felt that BLM increased racial tensions too.
The fact is, Black Lives Matter is about racial equality. The movement, the organization, which, by the way, came about in 2016, whereas Black Lives Matter has been a movement that's existed across the world since 2013. Clearly, you can't say that anybody who supported Black Lives Matter in 2013 or 14 or 15 automatically was adhering to an organization that hadn't even been created yet.
How can that be true when Black Lives Matter in the UK came about in 2014?
Well, 2013 was when it came about in America.
But 2014, and there were protests that were driven by the organisation then. So it's not that it didn't exist.
Femi,
maybe it didn't officially register, but it definitely
can I ask you, please, how long you think these protests should go on for at football matches? How long should players take the knee? Do you remember earlier this year, we got out every Thursday and we clapped for the carers, and then the organisers felt, actually, the country came together for 8 weeks. We're over the worst of that pandemic. It's time to move on. How long, Femi, do you think players should take the knee at these Premier League matches? In perpetuity? Forever?
So to respond again to the thing, Black Lives Matter, the movement, has existed since 2013.
Yes, but just answer my question, please. Femi.
Yeah, let me finish what I was saying, because I was in the middle of saying something. Black Lives Matter, the movement, has existed since 2013.
It's an irrelevant point. Answer my question, please, Femi.
Allow me to finish what I'm saying. The organization was created in 2014. That's afterwards. You cannot say that anybody who supported Black Lives Matter in 2013 was supporting an organization that didn't exist.
You've made that point, Femi. So can you answer my question, please?
Now for your question. Sorry, what was your question again?
How long should players take the knee for?
So I actually do have a certain amount of issue.
Femi?
Issue with the principle of the players taking the knee. If nothing is concretely being done to actually further the push for racial equality, there should be specific demands being made. There should be concrete action being taken. It should be associated with those footballers being part of the campaigns to deliver things like blind CVs to improve equality in the workplace, better education so that people understand the history of empire in this country, improving the voting system so it doesn't.
Okay, but how long should the players continue to take the knee for, Femi?
For as long as they're making concrete changes. If they stop pushing for concrete changes, then it should stop because it's pointless. But if they are pushing for concrete changes, then it should keep going.
And if the booing continues?
The presence of racists doesn't mean you should allow racism you should stop fighting racism.
Dominique, what do you think? How long should these protests or the taking the knee before the games continue?
I mean, I don't know, because I'm not fully on board with what exactly they're trying to achieve. I believe that we should continue efforts to try to wipe out racism in football, because yes, it does exist. However, bending the knee, I don't think it actually invites any positive attention. I just think it invites division. So I think they should probably stop doing that. However, again, it's up to what the individual players want to do. If they want to continue to do that, fair enough. But
Okay.
I'm personally not buying into it.
Dominique Samuels, the Conservative commentator from the right, and Femi Olawale, the Remain campaigner from the left. Thank you so much for a great political panel.